I'm with Andy Elms here in the atrium. Now, Andy, do you feel that the church is chasing its tail at the moment?
I think it's in a time of rediscovery. I think it's asking itself honest questions about what it should be, what it needs to be, and that's really healthy. Chasing its tail, some would be, yeah, but others, I believe, are very sincere, saying, come on, what does God need us to be?
Do you feel that there's a sense of apathy amongst people?
It's a horrible thing, apathy, and yeah, I think we need very much an awakening, but would just arise Christians from their slumber. It's, you know, when we used to read the Bible and Jesus said the fields are ripe unto the harvest, but the labourers are few. We can't really say they're few today. I think we need to be honest and go, maybe if that was rewritten, we would say the fields are still white, the need is still there, the harvest still plentiful, but a lot of the labourers are lazy, distracted, apathetic, settling for mediocrity, and what we need is just an awakening, I believe, of that just makes our hearts sensitive again to God and what we're on the earth to do, and the cause that we've been given the privilege to live for. It can only be an awakening of the spirit, I believe, that can get the church back on its feet in the UK, and I honestly believe it will happen. But like we've been preaching over these last few days, we don't need revival, we need reformation. We need to see a church reformed to look like, sound like, and feel like, and move in the power of Jesus Christ.
If you suffer from apathy, how do you get out of that? Because in some ways you don't really care. Does it really need a move from God to get out of apathy?
It needs something to break the cycle. You know, they said that apparently if you want to kill a frog, for anyone out there that wants to kill a frog, it's very easy. You just heat some water slightly, put the frog in there, and then heat it, and the frog will stay there until it boils to death. If you drop a frog in hot water, it won't stay in the hot water. And I think sometimes there's a subtle strategy of the enemy that, no, I'll give you success, I'll give you comfort, I'll give you a nice church. Let's just wind you into a slumber, and you won't actually remember when you nodded off until an alarm bell goes off and you wake up. I believe Keith Green said it so well in his songs in the 70s, where he said, you know, that the church is asleep in the light. And the reality is, a lot of the church in the UK, not all of it, you've got faithful men and women that have remained awake, sensitive and hungry for God, but a lot of the church, I don't know, is it a result that we've had life too easy? Is it a result that we haven't had to believe as much as maybe we should have, or had to in former days? There is an alarm bell going off in the spirit of people. God is speaking loud. And I believe, you know, those famous words of Jesus ring true again today. Let him who have ears, let him hear. I think anyone that's listening for God is hearing an alarm bell that isn't gentle, gentle, bless me. It's an awakening. It's the raising of an army. There's a new breed standing to its feet that's rediscovering the power of God, the power of some of our old school stuff like living in the Word, finding the sword of the Spirit in your life. Like I've been saying over the last couple of days, I don't believe our pursuit should be for anything new, but rather the rediscovery of things that have changed lives for generations.
Now, there seems to be a rise of Islam and fundamental Islam at the moment. Do you think God is using that to waken up the church?
It's a horrible thing when you see what ISIS has produced. There's no two ways about that. It's horrible and frightening. One way of looking at that is that's quite a backdrop if you're looking to display something in a glorious way. I think ISIS and the fundamentalism of Islam and such things provide an incredible backdrop to a stage of hatred, but what a stage for the light of love to shine. If the church was to rise to her feet now and be the glorious church she's called to be, that God still calls her, the light that would shine from us would be so enhanced by the darkness that stands behind us. I think I'm often challenged when I look at things like ISIS, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, and I think, oh my goodness, sometimes they sadly put us to shame. And we've got to change that. When you look at the evangelism efforts of Jehovah's Witnesses, we know they're doing it to get something. We know they're doing it to attain something. But how much more should we who have attained and been made perfect and holy, be more enthusiastic about our evangelism than them. When you look at simple stuff like what we do with our money, you never see poor Mormon churches or poor Jehovah's Witness churches. You never see Muslims. Why? Because tithing is an issue. Okay, their context of it may be legalistic, but again, shouldn't grace, if grace is true grace, produce in us a greater passion to give, a greater passion to serve than in any other thing that we call a false religion? Shouldn't true religion, shouldn't faith in Christ produce or mobilize an army that are unstoppable?
Well, Andy, thank you for sharing.
Hey, God bless you. It's going to be a good week.